And welcome back to the My Tehillim Time, Jewish Women's Virtual Festival. We are in day 7, guys. Day 7. We're going strong. We started already last week, and we're going to be going through Cheshvan, through the Chagim, talking about many different aspects of Tehillim to uplift us, to connect Am Yisrael, to unify us, and to Bezrat HaShem bring the geulah so that we can all come together and unify as one. We need it now more than ever, and we all know it in our hearts. And I'm very, very excited for tonight's speaker. Before I'm going to introduce the speaker, just a couple of announcements. Those of you that have been joining us each night, I love seeing you back. It makes me so happy. So I apologize you hear my same announcements each day. I really do. But those of you that are joining us for the first time, welcome. We're so excited to have you, and I hope that you continue to come back time and time again. If somebody forwarded this to you and you don't know how to find out more or how to find out the other speakers that are going to be participating, it's really simple. All you need to do is go to abrahamslegacy.com/sign up. And when you go there, you'll be able to see the agenda, all of the incredible speakers. You'll see ways that you can get involved. You can register. And when you register, you get entered to win a prize every night. We do a raffle. Every day we do a raffle for a different prize, whether it be the book of the author, whether it be for a Netillah cup, or some exciting things in between. So, don't forget to register if you haven't already done so. In addition, you'll have the opportunity on the website to submit your My Tehillim Time story. What does that mean? Basically, it's a Tehillim inspired story of how Tehillim has touched your heart. Or maybe you heard of a really great story. Maybe it's not yours. That's still okay. Of how Tehillim truly saved someone or touched their life. Or maybe it's a favorite perek or a pasuk that you love. The idea is that no matter what, inspiration is meant to be shared. Every one of you here and every person out there has a story. We all have a story, and our stories matter. You know why? Because we matter. Hashem doesn't put extra people in this world for no reason. You hear there's something that you're meant to do that nobody else can do. So by us having the courage to share our story, we can inspire so many other people to do so. So you'll have the opportunity to share on our website. Or if you prefer, you can also post up on your social media, a video, text, an audio, whatever it is. When you use the hashtag #MyTehillimTime, you'll be entered to win also a 100% pure Copper Netillah cup. It's a beautiful cup. You could check it out at netillah.com. All the raffle prizes will be sent at the end of the campaign. So that's on that. In addition, I know that I'm mentioning this and I haven't yet announced who the musicians are going to be. But at the very end of this campaign, we are going to be hosting a physical event here in Yerushalayim with women performers that are going to be singing songs of tefillah, songs of Tehillim. We'll also be live streaming it for those of you who are not yet here in Eretz Yisrael, so that you'll be able to take part in this incredible event. So more details about that and who the women are going to be coming shortly. I want to give a shout out to Annie Ornstein from Spotlight on Women that is working with both Naomi Journo and myself on organizing and orchestrating that event. So what is the agenda for tonight? In just a moment, I'm going to introduce our incredible speaker. And once she comes on, she's going to be giving a talk for about 20 minutes or so, okay? Following her talk, we're all going to join in together to read Tehillim through the Abraham's Legacy Tehillim app. Now, I created this app and doing this program and doing whatever I'm doing this in memory of my grandfather, Avraham Ben Pauline, who I love and miss every day. But to be honest, doing this, I have to thank you guys, because working on this every day, it's weird to say this, but I feel like I'm having a relationship with him. I know that he's physically not here, but his neshama is very much here. So it feels like I'm talking to him every day. So I want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity. And of course, I want to thank HASHEM for allowing me to do this day in and day out. Again, a thank you to Naomi Journo, my partner in Tehillim, in making this come into fruition, and to all of our incredible speakers that are joining us. Before we do so after the speaker, we're going to have our Tehillim read. I will be mentioning certain names. There have been people that have been sponsoring a perek in honor or memory of a loved one. I will be mentioning certain names. If there are names that you'd like us to keep in mind, feel free to type them here directly into the chat so we all can have them in mind. We'll be doing the reading through the app. Now, if you don't have the app, you can download it. It's for iOS and for Android. Now, if you don't have a smartphone, some people are saying, well, I don't get to be involved. Of course you get to be involved. You can take out a Tehillim book and you can join us. If you don't have a Tehillim book handy, you have your heart handy, you have your voice handy, You'll be able to speak to Hashem during those 6 minutes. So no matter what, you can always join us. And finally, after the Tehillim read, you'll have the opportunity to ask our incredible speaker some questions if there is time permitted. So as she's speaking, if something comes to your mind, feel free to jot those questions down so that you'll be able to remember them to ask her at the end. And then, of course, you want to stick around because we're going to be doing our raffle for the Netillah Cup, and then I'll be announcing who the speakers are for the rest of this week. So without further ado, I want to introduce our incredible speaker for today. Her name is Rina Deutsch, and she is a motivational speaker who shares a unique blend of Jewish wisdom and modern understanding to increase positivity, helping people face challenges so that they can enjoy a happier, more meaningful life. I mean, what could be better than that? Now, Rina teaches Judaic studies at a girls' high school in Toronto, and she gives Jewish premarital and general classes in person and online. And today, she's going to be talking to us about Tehillim to protect Am Yisrael. Now, I'd like to mention that today's class, Li'ilui Nishma, my grandfather, Avraham ben Polin, the soldier who passed, and our hearts are breaking, Bar-El Achya Hadera Benitza, as well to Daniel ben Feiga Chaya, and for us to keep in mind, Refuah Shlema of Meir ben Mazal, Shoshana bat Chana Chaya, Chana Esther bat Ayala Hadar, and Chava bat Yehudit. So let's keep those names in mind. Without further ado, I give you our featured speaker for tonight, Rina Deutsch. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Orly. It's such a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the opportunity so much. So when I think of the times that I have felt the most connected to Am Yisrael, the most clearly and strongly understanding that I am part of something so much bigger than myself, most of those times have been times where I have been standing shoulder to shoulder with other people who have been connecting to the words of Tehillim, asking for HaShem for protection during times of distress for the Jewish people. The Zohar teaches us that HaShem showed Adam Harishon. He showed Adam the entirety of human history. And in this display, Adam saw that David HaMelech was only supposed to live really for 3 hours. His soul was only supposed to be in this world for 3 hours. And Adam was distressed by the idea of the loss of potential here. So he turned to HaShem and he said, is it possible maybe that I could donate some of my years to him? Hashem said to Adam, you're supposed to live for 1,000 years. And if you like, you can give some of that time to David HaMelech. And so he said, yes, please, I would like to give him 70 years. And so Adam Harishon lived for 930 and he gave 70 to David. Rabbi Shimon explains that Avraham and Yaakov and Yosef also donated years to give towards the life of David HaMelech. And this made him an exceptionally unique human being, because with these donations from the past and his connection to Mashiach in the future, David HaMelech was in a unique position to be able to connect to the entirety of Jewish history, to really represent us from time immemorial and to connect to our struggles. He was able to see a reflection of Jewish national struggles within his own hardships. And with that, that is how he composed Tehillim, not just for himself, but for all time, for all of us to be able to turn to for our own personal issues, but very much so to strengthen Am Yisrael and to ask Hashem for protection when we need it. Tonight, I would like to look at 3 specific kapitla, 3 specific prakim that we tend to say in times of distress and take a little bit of a deeper dive into them. The first one I'd like to look at is Perek Chaf, chapter 20, Lamnatseach Mizmor LeDavid. The word Lamnatseach that begins this means for the conductor, but if we look at the word, we also see that the word Netzach, which means eternity, is in there. Lamenatseach, Netzach, eternity. And this is a hint to us that David HaMelech understood when he was writing the words of Tehillim, that it wasn't just for him. It wasn't just in this moment, and it wasn't just about his particular circumstances. He was writing this for all of Jewish history. He had you and me in mind, that when we would come into a moment of distress, that we could turn to this Tehillim and we could cry out to Hashem and ask him for protection in the same way that David HaMelech did. Now, this particular parak was written when David HaMelech was sending his troops out to battle without him. Normally he went with them, but under these circumstances, he wasn't. But he knew that he could still protect them through his words. Through the words of Tehillim, he could still be with them and he could still offer them the protection that he would normally give them physically. And I think that this is so important because there are some times where what we're davening for, the protection that we're asking Hashem for, is for something that's halfway around the world. Sitting here in Chutz La'aretz, I know that there are so many times that I have reached for my Tehillim because something was going on in Eretz Yisrael, whether it was myself at a school assembly with my synagogue. And over the years, there have been things that have happened in Chutz La'aretz, and I know that every single Jew in Israel has also reached for his or her Tehillim and joined their brethren in Chutz La'aretz, begging for our protection as well. Sometimes we can feel so distant, like there's really nothing that we can do, but even here we see that David HaMelech knew, even though he couldn't go into battle, he could still give his troops the protection they needed by giving the tefillos to them, by saying Tehillim for them. And in this particular chapter, we say Elokei Yaakov, we call out to the God of Jacob. Why specifically him? Because out of all the patriarchs, out of all the avot, he was the one who actually had the hardest, most unsettled and distressing life. He had threats from Esav. He lived with Lavan, which was really not comfortable or easy. He lost Rachel. Dinah was kidnapped. Then there was Yosef, who just went missing and he never knew what happened to him. There was so much pain and so much distress, but Hashem was with him through all of it. He protected him and carried him through all of it and made sure that he would be able to be okay, to sustain him through it. And that's what we remind ourselves of, that in the moments of distress, when we are crying out to Hashem for his protection, for his help, remember, he is Elokei Yaakov. He is the God of Yaakov, who is our forefather. And Hashem sustained him and protected him through everything that happened in his life. He will do it for us as well. We say, Ela barecha ve'elu basusim. There are those with their chariots and with their horses, and they rely on these physical things to be the protection for them. And the truth is, we rely on certain things to be physical protection for us. Thank God, look at Israel, one of the most amazing armies in the entire world, and an intelligence unit that is just unbeatable. And we have the Iron Dome. Baruch Hashem, thank God, look how much protection, look how much physical protection we have. But Anachnu b'shem Hashem Elokeinu nazkir, we cry out in Hashem's name. We know that each one of those things is special and amazing, but we also know that it is a vessel of Hashem, the true protector that we have. While he will send us all these incredible tools and instruments, it is Hashem that is behind each and everything, offering us that protection. And we remind ourselves of this in this parak of Tehillim. They are all shlichim of Hashem. And this kapitel, it ends with hope. Hashem Hoshia HaMelech Ya'anenu Biyom Korinu. Hashem, save us. May the King answer us on the day that we call. So yes, we are in distress. There is what to be asked for. We need Hashem's protection. But at the end, David says, Hashem will answer us on the day that we call to him. When we turn to Tehillim, when we say to Hashem, we know it's you. We know that you're the one who's protecting us, Hashem. He will answer us on the day we call. Then I want to look at Perek Kuf Chaf Aleph, 121. I lift my eyes to the mountains, from where will come my help. To climb a mountain, you need to look up because you have to see where you're going. If you're climbing a mountain and you're looking down, it's not going to help very much. But sometimes we can look up and think, it's too high, it's too steep, I can't possibly do this. So we look up in despair sometimes, it's true. But in looking up, that's exactly where we find our answer. Ezri me'im Hashem, our help is from Hashem. He is the only one who can provide us with the relief and the assistance and the strength that we need to move not just forward, but upward. We are scaling a mountain and he is there to help us. Now, sometimes it may seem with all the challenges that we face and all the difficulties, the different threats that we have as the Jewish people, sometimes we could, chas v'shalom, think that Maybe Hashem isn't always watching out for us, but Tehillim reminds us, no, no, no. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. He neither sleeps nor slumbers. Hashem is the guardian of the Jewish people. His protection is always there for us. Perhaps some of the challenges that we see on this climb up the mountain are really steps for us to bring us higher. Yes, they can be very difficult, can be very, very hard at times, but the ultimate goal is to help us to reach the next level. And then we read, Hashem tzilcha al yad yiminecha, that Hashem is our shadow on our right hand, and the right hand represents chesed. Hashem will relate to our chesed in the way we relate our chesed to others. That's how he is our shadow. The same way that when we move, our shadow moves. It's the same with us and Hashem. How we relate to one another is the way that Hashem will relate to us. We're coming up now on the high holidays, on the Yamim Noraim, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. And in our tefillos, we're going to say, Avinu Malkeinu. That's the wording that we use. Our Father, our King. If I say my Father, my King, and you say my Father, my King, and she says my Father, my King, well, that makes us sisters. That makes us siblings. And when Hashem looks at us and sees us take the time to say the Tehillim, to protect our brothers and sisters, he looks down at us with so much love. That's all he wants is for his family, his children, to relate to one another as siblings, to relate to one another as people that we care enough about, to take the time to say, Daddy, protect them, take care of them, watch over them. That's all I want from you. We also say, Yomam Hashemesh lo yakeka v'yareach balayla. By day, the sun will not harm you, and the moon will not harm you by night. Both day and night have their own challenges, but neither of them will harm us because Hashem is protecting us. And we need protection from both. Sometimes we have enemies that approach us in ways that are pretty obvious. In the same way that at night, we know that our guard needs to be up. It's dark and we have to be making sure that our wits are about us and we're really aware of what's going on. So sometimes we have clear threats and we know how to approach them. But sometimes we have enemies that try to approach us in a little bit of a more subtle way, almost kill us with kindness. Sort of like during the day where our guard may be a little bit let down. The sun is out, things are bright and shining. And so it can seem that there's maybe not so much danger. Here, Hashem is saying, don't worry. Neither one of those threats will harm you. And we are asking for protection from both of them. Hashem, protect us from the things that we can see clearly, that we understand, yes, that's a threat, but Hashem also help us for the things where maybe it's not so obvious. Maybe it's not as clear that this is something that could be dangerous. Hashem, protect us from both. And he tells us that he will. The third parak I'd like to talk about is Kuf Lamed. This is possibly the most famous parak for when Klal Yisrael is in distress. Mimamakim karasicha Hashem, from the depths I call out to you, Hashem. But this isn't just from the depth of a situation that we're talking about. We're talking about from the depths of our hearts and the depths of our souls. There is so much koach, there is so much power to the words of Tehillim, whether we really deeply understand them or we don't deeply understand them. What David HaMelech put into them, it's just off the charts, unbelievable. But when we can dig in and really find the ma'amakim of our hearts, when we can find the depths of our hearts and the depths of our souls to be able to call out to Hashem from that place, it's that much more powerful. It has that much more effect. This parak begins with a desperate cry, calling out from the depths. How am I supposed to do this? Where am I supposed to find the strength? But it ends with hope. It ends with confidence that Hashem is going to redeem Klal Yisrael, v'hu yifdeh es Yisrael mikol avonosav, that Hashem will redeem us from all of our avonot. It's with the gift of tshuva that Hashem gave to us. Sometimes we struggle with the idea of tshuva. It's too hard. I'm not good enough. There's no way. I can't do it. We have to remember Hashem gave it to us like a gift in a beautiful box, wrapped up in gorgeous paper with a big bow on top that says you can literally change everything by approaching the idea of tshuva, by the idea of wanting to return lashuv to that beautiful relationship that we had with Hashem before there was distance placed between us. And we are able, we're told through the teshuva process, we're able literally to completely change who we are so that whatever gezerah, whatever decree it was that was supposed to go for the person who perhaps fell down in this area, well, you're not that person anymore. So now that gezerah, literally, it doesn't even apply. That's how it works. And the process of Tehillim is very, very similar, because when we say the Tehillim, when we connect to it with the words of David HaMelech, he was the first real sovereign over all of Israel. And he represented not just himself. He represented the past, like we said, Adam and Abraham and Yaakov and Yosef, who all donated years to him. He represented the past, and he represents our glorious future. Mashiach is going to come from him. And he represents each and every one of us right now. When we connect to those words that he put together with so much care and time and passion and love, we are changing ourselves. As we work our way through the Tehillim, we are changing ourselves. We are elevating ourselves. We are elevating all of Am Yisrael. And through that, we become new people and a new nation that is absolutely meritorious of the protection of Hashem. And not only that, when we do it in the merit of protecting others, where it's not specifically just for me, then we see that we are coming together. We're recognizing our connection to one another, the responsibility that we have to one another, and how close we actually really are. And when Hashem sees his children stand side by side, praying for the protection of their holy brothers and sisters, we can really be sure that he's listening. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. I don't know about all of you, but I have chills hearing you and listening to you, and you could tell that you're really speaking from your heart. And I appreciated everything that you said. I'm sure that we all did. Such beautiful concepts here. We can have our conversation just on your talk and what you shared. I think one of the things that I take the most, something that came into my mind when I was hearing you speak, I was remembering my first Yom HaZikaron in Israel. When I got here 3 years ago, I made Aliyah a year ago, but my first Yom HaZikaron, I never experienced Yom HaZikaron in Israel. And the reason why I bring this up is because I went to, there was some sort of there was an event. There were many, many events. And I've always felt connected to Am Yisrael. Always. I've always felt this close connection in tefillah in every way. But never in my life did I ever feel as close as I did on that first Yom HaZikaron. I didn't know all the people there, obviously, but the fact that we were all part of Am Yisrael, people lost different people, and it didn't matter, where you go to shul or who your rabbi is or what this guy does or what he does in his private life. Everybody was so unified that it touched my heart in such a tremendous way. We don't need tragedy. We don't need tragedy to unify us. We have the choice to be united and to unify ourselves every single day. And so I think what you shared is so spectacular. And that's exactly what really the time Mashiach is. So hopefully we can all take that in as we're approaching Rosh Hashanah, we're approaching the Chagim, to take that upon ourselves to just embrace Am Yisrael just because, not because of anything else, just because to embrace. So to me, that was the thought that came into my mind as you were speaking. So I really do appreciate it. And I'm excited, guys, to be able to join Rina right now in the Tehillim read through the Abraham's Legacy app so that we can pray for the protection of Am Yisrael. And I put a list over here of people to keep in mind for tefillot. I'm going to add them again over here, just in line with what we're talking about right now, praying for Am Yisrael and the protection of Am Yisrael. So please keep these names in mind. And we're going to share a quick video right now and go into our read. And one of the songs in the countdown are songs from a musician. His name is Ishai Ribo. Many of you may already know him. Some of you may not. The words of his music are beautiful. But the second song that's going to be playing is called Lashuv Habaita. So I'm only bringing that up because of what you shared, Rina, this concept of teshuvah, Lashuv Habaita, to return home, not just to return physically to the home, let's say in Israel, but to return home to ourselves, to who we are, to that connection that we had. So hopefully we'll take those words into our heart as we're going to be praying together. So here we go with the Tehillim read. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be doing the raffle right after this, and you'll have the opportunity to ask Rina any questions that you have. On behalf of Abraham's Legacy, we are excited to lead you in a Tehillim reading, where each and every one of us, from wherever we are in the world, can easily join in and complete a book of Tehillim in unison within minutes through a very special app called Abraham's Legacy, Tehillim Together, in memory of Avraham ben Polin. To be part of the global Tehillim read happening now, download Abraham's Legacy on your mobile device from the App Store, available for iOS and Android. You can also scan this QR code with your phone. To scan a QR code, simply open the camera on your phone and hold it up to this image. A link will appear on top, which you can click, and it will direct you to download the app. I'll give you all a moment to download the app. Sign in, and in a minute, we will all click on the Start Reading button on the main screen, and each of us will receive a different perek from the Sefer of Tehillim so that we can complete the book and add to the global count. In the top right corner, you can click the icon to switch your language if you like. You'll also be able to see in real time the amount of people reading and countries reading. Don't forget, you'll need to confirm that you've completed the chapter. Let's put a few minutes on the clock to read in unison so that we can unleash the power of our combined tefillah. Tizku l'mitzvot.
קרבות עוד באוויר, עם עייף חובש פצעיו, יושב סופר ימיו, צעקות בושה בכל העיר, דור רוצה תשובה עכשיו, זכאי ולא חייב. בגוף עייף מכישלונות, בלב שבור לחתיכות, נחכה לך שתקבל פנינו. לך קראנו בלילות, ועוד נצעק ברחובות, רחם עלינו אבא, הושיענו, הושיענו. זמן עובר כולם ממהרים, דור מחיש את פעמיו, רוצה הכל עכשיו, שמש בשמיים אפורים, עם בארץ אבותיו, נלחם עוד על חייו. בגוף עייף מכישלונות, בלב שבור לחתיכות, מחכה לך שתקבל פנינו. בגוף עייף מכישלונות, בלב שבור לחתיכות, מחכה לך שתקבל פנינו. לך קראנו בלילות, ועוד נצעק ברחובות, רחם עלינו אבא, הושיענו, הושיענו. הגיע הזמן להתעורר, לעזוב הכל, להתגבר, לשוב הביתה, לא לחפש מקום אחר. הגיע הזמן להשתנות, גם אם פספסנו תחנות, אפשר לרדת, יש רכבת, חזרה לשכונות. הכל אפשר רק אם נרצה, המחפש תמיד מוצא, גם אם הוא נמצא אי שם הרחק בקצה. דלתות שמיים לא ננעלו, כשהבן קורא הצילו, אבא שבשמיים מגיע אפילו שעשינו משהו רע, הוא מוחל וסולח, מושיט ידו לעזרה, ונותן ברחמיו את הכוח לתקן ולשוב אליו. להתחרט, אם כבר לברוח אז מאחת, אם כבר לקחת אז לקחת בשביל לתת. וזה הזמן להתקרב, לא לפחד מהכאב, ואם לתת אז כבר לתת מכל הלב. הכל אפשר רק אם נרצה, המחפש תמיד מוצא, גם אם הוא נמצא אי שם הרחק בקצה. דלתות שמיים לא ננעלו, כשהבן קורא הצילו, אבא שבשמיים מגיע אפילו שעשינו משהו רע, הוא מוחל וסולח, מושיט ידו לעזרה, ונותן ברחמיו את הכוח לתקן ולשוב אליו. אפילו שעשינו משהו רע, הוא מוחל וסולח, מושיט ידו לעזרה, ונותן ברחמיו את הכוח לתקן ולשוב אליו. הזמן להתעורר, לעזוב הכל, להתגבר, לשוב הביתה.
I just want you to know we finished the book and we already got into almost at 100 chapters, almost at Kuf. It's amazing. We finished almost again almost 2 books, which is really, really incredible, guys. The power of this is really incredible. I want to give opportunity. Anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask our amazing speaker for tonight, and for those of you maybe that joined us a little bit late or didn't see the past talks, all of the talks, including tonight's, are going to be uploaded to the Abraham's Legacy YouTube channel. So feel free to check that out, subscribe to the channel. You'll then get a notification whenever a new video is uploaded, and it's under a playlist called My Tehillim Time. So just make sure. But if anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask, feel free to either type them or you can just or you can unmute yourself, and you're more than welcome to be able to take the opportunity to ask. I'll give a few seconds just to see. Something that I'd like to ask you guys to do for me, if you're able to. For those of you that have the app and that are on the app, when something can be very helpful is the more reviews that the app is getting, that it's a positive app and that it's doing well, the more other people will be able to join us. This is a free app, will always be a free app. This is meant to do one thing, to connect and to unify Am Yisrael in tefillat. And so if you go to the side menu, you click on this little icon in the top corner, you're going to see, it says here, review this app. And if you click it, it will take you to leave a review, to give a star rating. You'll click on the stars. Of course, I hope you click 5, but it's up to you to click whatever you feel. And then to write a review. It could be something short, But if you're able to do that, it would be such a help for the app and to continue to bring Tehillim to the people. All right, if anybody has questions, okay, and you didn't have a chance to ask tonight, or maybe you're feeling a bit shy, that's okay. Feel free. I'm going to send you my email address, okay? It's info@abrahamslegacy.com. And I'll also send you my WhatsApp number. I'm putting it over here in the chat. So feel free to send me a message. I will answer every message. It might take me just an extra day or so, but I will get to every message. All right, are we ready to do the raffle? First off, just a big round of applause for our speaker, Rina Deutsch. Thank you so much. You were incredible. And we're going to do our raffle for today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see who is the winner for today. And again, you're going to win, just so you can see what it is. You will win a 100% pure copper Netillah cup. On the website, you can also read more about why copper when it comes to Netillah, the significance of it. All right, so let's spin the big wheel. Let's see who our winner is for today. This is by email addresses. And the winner of the Netillah cup for today is zuka.glava@gmail. So I will make sure, I'm going to find out what the name is once we get off, and I will send you an email so you can send me your address, and I will make sure to get you the Netillah cup. Just quickly, tomorrow's speakers, just the rest of the week's speakers, just to show you quickly so you can see what we have coming up. Of course, Rina was tonight, absolutely incredible. Devorah Sisus tomorrow on Tehillim for Refuah Shlema, followed by Rebbetzin Chai Rivka Zelinsky on Rabbi Nachman's advice on Tehillim. And then last but not least, Rebbetzin Sipora Heller Gottlieb on Tehillim for a sweet new year. And it will, Bezrat Hashem, be a very, very sweet new year. I want to thank you all for being on, for being here, continuing to show up. Let's continue to use our voice to unify Am Yisrael. Have a great rest of your day, your evening, and we'll be in contact. Thank you, guys.